My passion for woodworking seemed to arrive very abruptly in my life, but it had actually been cultivating for many years. My dad was a handyman for over 2 decades, and I often helped him during that time. It was through him that I learned both how to operate power tools safely and the importance of respecting them. He also taught me how to make something out of nothing. He grew up in an era where you couldn't just go down to the nearest big box store and buy the part you needed. You either needed to fix the part yourself or figure out a different way to get the job done. Although I didn't much care for the hard work at that point in my life, I am very thankful for everything he taught me during that time. A few years later, in 2013, I became immersed in gardening, starting both a food garden and a flower bed in my very shaded backyard. After purchasing a couple of clematis plants, I realized I needed something for them to climb on. This led me to build a simple square trellis out of 2x4s. I borrowed my dad's portable table saw and ripped the 2x4s down and cut out some grooves to fit some slats for the clematis to climb on. Creating that trellis from scratch was the most fun I'd had in a very long time, and I was hooked from that moment on. Over the next 5 years, I focused on improving my skills and increasing my tool collection. I was making anything I could: wind chimes, scroll saw art, clocks, boxes. I made so many boxes. I moved my tools from the garage to the basement so I could work through the winter. My gardens grew bigger every year, and I removed a few trees to provide more sunlight, using the limbs as edging for the flower beds. I even carved a face in one of the tree cutoffs, which was super fun, and it still looks really awesome. Eventually, I built a console table out of ash and walnut to display some indoor plants I had run out of space for, which sparked my passion for crafting furniture. Around this time, I also quit smoking after 25 years, which I am still so very proud of. In 2018, I started paying attention to a woman at work, and for some reason, she started paying attention to me too. Roberta and her 2 cute little dogs moved into the duplex I owned and lived in that year, and we began renovating different parts of the house together. Mostly painting, but we did remodel the entire kitchen as well. I had to remove the tenant that lived in the upper half of the duplex, and we converted it to a single-family home. Although we talked about moving a lot, we just weren't able to take that step yet. Everything changed in 2020 when I lost my job of 10 years due to COVID. We decided to turn my woodworking hobby into a business, which turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I realized I was never meant to work for someone else, and now I was finally free to do what I loved and get paid for it. There's nothing quite like the satisfaction of designing and building quality products with my own hands. The feeling I get as I apply the final coat of finish, reflecting on the journey to that point, is indescribable and only surpassed by the gratitude clients express when they see the finished product for the first time. 2020 was a big year for us, not only because of the business, but also because Roberta and I got married in the midst of the pandemic. Though she worked full-time, Berta played an essential role in Wood by Brown, continually generating new ideas for products and marketing, and keeping me grounded. Together, we felt we had truly found our passion. By 2023, we found ourselves in a good position to find a new home. Our previous house never really fit our needs, and I needed to get out of the city. I grew up on a farm, and I realized living in a loud and crowded city was not good for my soul. We wanted at least 1 acre, room for a large garden, and the possibility of raising chickens. We also needed an on-site workshop to expand the business. We began our search in late January, found this home, and moved at the end of April. Before moving in, we refinished the original hardwood floors throughout most of the first floor after removing some nasty carpeting. My new shop is a 3-stall garage, with the 3rd stall serving as a dedicated paint and finishing room, and it works out great. Over the following 2 years, the business expanded significantly. We also built a sizable garden, constructed a chicken coop, and added chickens to our little homestead. Home remodeling took a backseat to outdoor projects, shop improvements, and fixing neglected maintenance from the previous owners. This past April, I began experiencing lung issues, likely due to a combination of factors. We had finally started remodeling an upstairs room into a new office, which involved drywall repairs, new carpet, painting, and building a bookshelf. At the same time, we were raising chicks in the basement, which produced a lot more dust than we were prepared for. I was also working on a project using an oil-based stain a client had requested. I've been using mostly water-based products since 2020 and had forgotten just how nasty oil-based products are, so I wasn't taking the necessary precautions I should have. However, the real problem wasn't physical particulates entering my lungs, and it took me a couple months to realize that. Since 2020, I had started to lose my passion for woodworking. It was a slow decline, and I didn't notice that spark had dimmed until it was almost too late. The joy of the process was almost gone, and it had been replaced by a focus on completing jobs for the sake of income and getting to the next job. I was working too much, not sleeping well, and always thinking about the current job. The stress this created eventually led to physical symptoms, including lung pain, a hoarse voice, and a bit of shortness of breath. Fearing permanent damage to my lungs, I finished the current project, canceled everything on my schedule, and took a couple months off. After some medical tests and a visit to a pulmonologist, I learned there was nothing actually wrong with my lungs. Ultimately, I realized my body was just telling me to slow down, reconnect with myself, and focus on what truly matters. During this break, I started thinking about the future and what my work life could become now that I wasn't sure about woodworking. I remembered how much I enjoyed filming and editing short videos of my projects for Facebook and Instagram. I had also been following a couple homesteaders from different states on YouTube and started thinking, maybe I should start a channel showing how we do things here in Wisconsin. So I did, and here we are, 13 videos in and getting better at it every day. My lungs have mostly recovered, and I've started accepting clients again, but at a much slower pace and only for projects I truly want to undertake. I plan to keep filming everything we do, including woodworking projects, with the hope of sharing knowledge, or at least providing some good entertainment. So follow us, subscribe, like, all that stuff, and we'll see where this path takes us. Check you later.